Hello and welcome to episode 10 of the Welder's Wet Dream podcast. Let's get right into things. I'm going to start how I start every podcast from now on and want to say I will not kill myself. I will never kill myself. And if I am found dead hanging in my room, it was the government. Unfortunately, I have to preference that because every single person who watches this podcast has reached out to me thinking that I'm going to kill myself, and I will not. I'm stronger than that. Okay, let's get into the news. So we are seeing in the last, I think, 10 days, 2 plane crashes now. It's probably the Taliban. I would guess probably 100%. It's the 98%. It's the Taliban. This is exactly what I was talking about last episode, where they're doing these attacks, and they don't want to take credit for it because they want to just do as much damage as possible. Okay, I mean, you're telling me a plane didn't see a helicopter in the middle of the sky? That's crazy. Especially a military helicopter. Both of these aircrafts have radar. A helicopter is very manipulatable, so it could move and dodge out of the way. Plus, you have to think about it. You're in a huge airway, right? You're in the sky. There's nothing. The chances that a plane hits a helicopter is the same as a car hitting an ant on a highway. It makes zero sense. Like, that doesn't happen, right? So that was clearly the Taliban. This other one in Philly, a medical plane goes down. So like first you got government, you got gymnastics people dying in a plane crash. Who doesn't love gymnastics people? Livy Dunn, everybody loves her. She didn't die, but like people like her died. Military people love and respect them. So, and now you have a medical, people in need dying, right? So they're probably going to go after the whites next, I would guess, because these are the 4 most important people in American society. So watch out. I have never been a fan of air travel. I will never go on a plane again. I'm saying that right now. I will never go on a plane ever again. They're too easily manipulable, and I don't even know why we have planes. Why would you ever want to leave America? And why would you ever want to not do a cross-country drive? I think more people should drive. Driving's fun. There's a whole bonding experience of a road trip that the American public is missing out on because of these flights where you're separated from your family, people are just sleeping. Also, if the power grid ever went down, nobody's going to know how to get anywhere because of these flights. I mean, you tell a guy from Manhattan who's never owned a car how to get to California. He doesn't know to go north, south, west, east. He doesn't even know how to use a compass. So we have to stop air travel. If I'm Trump, the first thing I'm doing is grounding every single flight, and I'm not letting anything into this country, right? Immediately, so many problems go away. Nobody dies in plane crashes, right? The used car market is strong. Great. You have less people living in big cities. I don't know why actually that would be affected. No fentanyl, because all the fentanyl is coming from China on planes. So no drug addicts, probably no homeless people. It would solve all the problems. So first thing as Trump, I would sign an executive order, ground all air travel. It's also like planes are crazy. You're in a tight. I mean, unless you're first class, which to spend $4,000 on a plane ticket is crazy. Like the rest of the people, it's worse than a school bus. I mean, you got what 300, 400 people on a flight. It's fucking tossed in there like sardines. There's at most 4 bathrooms, which one time I did throw up in the back of a plane waiting to go into the bathroom. had food poisoning, probably a definitive moment in my life, probably the worst moment in my life. Threw up on the ground, and then threw up a little bit more into a trash can, and then went into the bathroom and had diarrhea for like an hour. Like an hour into a 5-hour flight. That's why I don't do planes. I'll never go on a plane ever again. I'm actually missing a trip to Disney World this year because I'm not going on planes anymore. And why don't you drive? Can't take off 2 extra days off of work. Local union 434, machinists and aerospace workers. I can't. The company would die without me. Yep. So, what else is wrong with planes? Oh, the crazy thing is, like, what is the weakest animal in like society? Pigeons. Pigeons can take down a 747. Right. If I hit a pigeon with my truck, the pigeon is turning into dust. But yet, if a plane hits a pigeon, the plane goes down. Explain that to me. You take away planes, we lose probably the 2 biggest events of terror that happened in America, 9/11 and Pearl Harbor. No planes, neither of those things are happening. It has just seemed that planes have ultimately, Epstein's Island used planes. Why do people not see that planes are the fucking issue? First of all, how do planes even work? With gravity makes no sense. No sense that you can take off. Planes weigh like probably, wild guess, 40 tons. That could be zero, like not even close. But regardless, it weighs a shit ton. And you're telling me that it can get up off the ground like this slowly and then hold altitude the whole time. It doesn't make sense. Helicopters make sense. It's displacing air, right? And it's going like this. Makes sense. Hot air balloons make sense, right? You're using a gas that is less dense than oxygen, and it is pushing up through the oxygen, and it's so big because it has to have so much gas for the weight, right? Makes sense. Planes don't. All right. If you're going like this, you should be going down the whole time. You shouldn't. There's no way that a plane can. Sorry if you guys. The mic isn't even plugged in, is what I'm trying to show you. It was a prop. It was a stupid idea. It has a USB. I can't figure out how to hook it up to my phone that I'm recording on. Fucking bought it for no reason. A plane, it's not displacing anything. It's just shooting through gravity. Doesn't make sense. I don't even know how it works. Especially jet engines. Also, it's like, all right, banned air travel. That's the first thing. Excuse me. What else have planes caused? Amelia Earhart. She died because of a plane. She was a great person and she died. Who else died in a plane accident? All right. You know what? Let's switch this to what have planes done good for America? Top Gun Maverick. That was a great film. Let's think about other things plane did bad. Dropped 2 nukes on Japan. I mean, planes might be responsible for the most amount of deaths. I mean, pretty much now you would say, 50% of all the worst atrocities that ever happened, plane. It's getting, and what about the fucking Malaysia flight 748 or whatever, the one that went missing? How does a plane go missing? You're talking about 8 school buses glued together goes missing. A little sketchy. I can't think of anything good about planes other than nothing. Just Top Gun Maverick. Here's a little funny thing I was thinking about. Crew necks are the worst idea ever. It's strictly a hoodie without the tactical advantage of a hood. I don't know why you would ever wear a crew neck, even though like the hood doesn't really get in the way of anything, right? A hood can, one, protect you from the elements, two, um, hide you if you're getting followed or tracked, um, makes for comfortable sleep in any area, um, protects debris from getting into your ears, uh, protects the back of your neck from slashes, uh, makes you hard to identify, um, is just warm and cozy. If you're having a bad hair day, you can use it. Why would you ever want to chop that piece of valuable technology? I mean, that's like, oh, let's have a car, but let's take the seats out of it. Doesn't make sense. I don't know where I'm going with this, so we're gonna go to the LA fires, which was clearly another act of terrorists from the Taliban or Al Qaeda. Um, excuse me. Um, yeah, it was. I mean, there's videos of people setting fires to Los Angeles. Fires don't work like how this LA wildfire is started. A wildfire is in dense woods, right, where there's tons of dead debris and dryness and tons of ways for the fire to continue to ignite. It's running through suburbs. That's not how fires work. For a fire to go, I mean, have you seen a house fire before? I've seen. My dad used to be a firefighter for I'm not gonna say where, but house fires don't take out the whole street block, even if the house burns down to a fucking ground. All right, houses, they're meant to contain the fire and just burn down. That's why there's spaces in between houses. These are millionaires' houses. It's not like they're living, next, like the houses are connected. That's not the case. These fires are traveling between houses. No, this is laser weapons used from space, and they're setting each house on fire individually. That's why you're seeing some houses are not on fire, right? Because it doesn't make sense. A whole city block is burnt down to the ground, right? Let's say the fire spreaded, but there's one house surviving, probably a politician's. These are laser weapons. Shooting out of satellites. I think it's Elon Musk. I think they're using SpaceX and what's that fucking Wi-Fi that he has? It's gonna come to me. Give me a second. Starlink. Um, they're shooting lasers individually at houses, and they're using the smoke that the fires are, coming, and it's hiding the laser beams. It's probably infrared laser beams, so you probably can't actually see the laser itself, but it's the only thing that makes sense. There's no way a fire could spread without dense woods, right? And then I think Elon Musk is probably working in conjunction with the Taliban and Al Qaeda. Just seems to be the most likely resource because it's like, all right, Elon Musk. Listen, people, for Elon Musk branding is great. By the way, what he did was he was like, all right, everybody's gonna hate me because I'm a billionaire, and everybody hates billionaires. So let me endorse a president who is polarizing 50% of the population. And if I endorse them and become his friend, then I can gain my popularity. He also just came out in the news. This is real, not even conspiracy, real. He lied about playing video games. He doesn't even play video games. He has other people play video games with his account so that he looks like he's better at playing video games. Again, he's trying to capture people into believing he's a good guy. When he started Tesla, right? Tesla was, actually, his first company, PayPal, right? So now we got money and transactions, right? Then he goes and starts Tesla. So now we have infrastructure, vehicles, and then he started through Tesla and another company building tunnels through LA, right, to get traffic. So now we really infrastructure and transportation, right? So now we have payment, transportation, infrastructure, and then you get SpaceX, right? So now he controls the fucking atmosphere. He's the only one launching rockets, but besides his buddy Jeff Bezos. Um, so those are four major sectors. And then when he went and bought Twitter, number 5, now he has communication and news, right? And now he's in Trump's back pocket, politics. This guy has his hands in 7 major systems of how the fucking world works, right? What's next? Is he going to buy oil and farms, right? That's the only thing he's not in right now is well, actually, no. He is in power. He does solar panels on people's houses. So now that's another industry he's in. So that's 8 industries, right? The only industry he's not in right now is food. And his buddy Bill Gates is taking care of that with all of his fucking insect food and shit. So I don't know what this guy is doing, but he's getting ready for something. All right? Any businessman will tell you to spread yourself that thin and to get yourself into that many different things is terrible for business, right? Especially getting into politics. Like, this is terrible for running a company. But yet, he still states he's the, one of the head engineers of SpaceX, and he's still calling the shots at Tesla, and he's running Twitter, and he's a video game champion, and he's doing solar panels, and he's doing all this shit, and he's hanging out with Trump, and he's at the UFC events. This guy's a fucking robot, and I think he's an implant from the Taliban and Al Qaeda. He must be, right? If there's anybody who can control a plane, maybe the guy who has fucking 40 million satellites in the fucking air, right? Maybe a guy who understands transportation the way that Elon does, right? And then he goes and hails Hitler at the fucking inauguration, right? Inauguration, by the way, crazy, right? I want to say right now, I'm not a Trump supporter. I did think he was a better candidate than Camel Toe Harris. And I don't vote. This is what I am so anti-government and anti-government and anti-system because they're all fucking liars, right? Trump's a liar. Right? He promised me one thing and he didn't do it. All right, no tax on overtime. I work 100 hours a week. All right, no tax on overtime. I'm buying a fucking yacht. I'm buying a mansion. Right? No, I'm still getting taxed. So until that happens, the guy's a sleazebag. I don't trust him. Right? His inauguration, though, very interesting. A lot of different points. Right? One, they did it inside. Why'd they do it inside? A lot of different reasons, I think. Cold outside, one reason. He doesn't want to get shot, which there's zero way unless it is fully a government ran thing, which obviously the first 2 assassination attempts were government ran operations. Zero chance that Trump could get assassinated on Inauguration Day in Washington, D.C. Not possible. They had that whole place locked down pretty tight, right? I think they did it inside also to kind of highlight the celebrities that were there, right? First, like on the row to his left, you got Elon, Bezos, Zuckerberg, and then right in front of them is all of Trump's family, right? The last thing you want a politician doing is working with billionaires. I think Mark Zuckerberg is a good guy. I've listened to him on a couple podcasts. I think he's fully autistic, but I think he's a good guy. I think Bezos he's a businessman. He's going wherever the money's good. He would have been sitting there right next to Camel Harris if she won, and he probably would be standing fucking patting Hitler on the back if he got elected as president. This guy's a businessman. I respect the grind. I think he's personality-less. He has a hot wife, which good for him. You have a lot of money, have a hot wife. And then Elon is Hitler. He is a robot asset of probably. See, I say Taliban and Al Qaeda. He's probably Iranian made, I would guess, and then defected to ISIS and the Taliban, which like really Iran is ISIS, Taliban, Al Qaeda, Hamas. It's really all the same shit. Anyways, some notable people who weren't there. Michelle Obama, right? I think Michelle Obama has fully turned into a dude. She is no longer pretending like she's a girl. She's Mike, Big Mike. I gotta watch what I say. I'm not gonna go into depth about this. Last time I talked about Big Mike, they fucking took my YouTube video down. So we're done there, but interesting, she wasn't there. Who else wasn't there? Jimmy Carter wasn't there. He passed away a couple months before, that's why. Let's say who was there? The Nelk Boys, which they're Canadian, so I don't know why they were there. Logan and Jake Paul, not great representation of America. But again, this is he's trying to reach out, I guess, and get like young kids to like him. I'm talking about Trump here, which I guess is a good move to like kind of interact with the younger generations, but I don't know about that. Theo Vaughn was there, which is funny that he was there. Dana White sitting right next to Barack Obama. Dana White actually had an all-time move recently, which I really appreciated. Current MMA fighter by the name of Bryce Mitchell released a podcast, his first podcast, which respect starting the podcast grind. I'll give him some tips if he needs it. Excuse me. He made some remarks about Hitler, saying Hitler, quote, Hitler was a great guy. He would be a great guy to go fishing with. He got rid of all the gay people and shit. End quote. Not my idea. Bryce Mitchell, right? And Dana White did a great thing by saying, this freedom of speech. He's not facing any punishment for this, which I truly don't believe he should, right? These fighters really don't make as much money as other athletes. And the UFC as a commission decides we are not controlling our athletes' lives, all right? If he said that at an interview in a UFC sanctioned event, that's one thing. But he didn't. He said this on his own platform, and that is a very hopeful thing that I would love to see happen in the future, right, with other sports leagues. These guys, they train their whole lives. Let them have a life outside of the game, and as long as they're not doing it on your platform, they should not face punishments for speaking however they want to speak, how bad it is. Not because I agree with anything that he said, but that I believe that if you can't say your opinions, we no longer, what separates us from Russia if we can't say whatever we want. Next, let's talk about Trump's tariffs. A lot of people are getting worried about these tariffs. Theoretically, tariffs are a great idea. I'm a guy who I'll pick something out on the shelf that says made in the USA, which is a little bit more expensive than a competitor who is made in China or made in Taiwan or Lithuania or wherever, right? All these tariffs are going to do are make incoming goods a little bit more expensive, right? But they're not going to make them 25% more expensive, because then they're going to be right up there with the US made stuff, which most people agree you want USA made items anyways when you can, if you want to, especially if you're going to pay the same amount of money, right? And if Trump is truly saying that he is going to get rid of income tax because of tariffs, I mean, it seems like a big solving of a huge problem, right? So theoretically, we will have more money in our pockets. Some things will be more expensive, but for the difference, we'll have more change in the amount of money we have than the amount of difference in the product. And hopefully it starts building America up where we're making our own things again, right? We don't want another thing happening like COVID where we don't have some of the industries that we need in America because it's cheaper to make it somewhere else, right? It's still going to be cheaper to make it somewhere else, right? But it's going to be taxed so hard coming in that it's going to equal it out. So now we're going to have better made products for the same prices in the USA. Yes, you have to spend that extra premium, but you're going to have more money. So I think theoretically it's a thing that could work actually very well. But we are talking about a man who works for the government, and all the government people lie. We're probably still going to have to pay an income tax, and then if he carries out these tariffs, shit's going to be more expensive. So then we're really going to be fucked. That's the last thing we need, is to make less money and have to spend more money on things. So we'll see how it goes. I am curious to see if there's going to be negotiations on how much each country is tariffed. I know currently they're actually, I had it pulled up on my iPad. So we're rolling them out on Mexico, Canada, and China. So that'll be interesting. I think they said it's a 15 first, and then like in 2 weeks it's 25%, which is a lot. Don't get me wrong, and that is probably the difference between U.S. made products and Chinese made products. So we'll see how that goes. We'll see how they spend that tariff money. Hopefully we stop giving money to useless wars. Probably not. We'll probably send money right over to Russia, right over to fucking Israel, right over to Ukraine, like we always do. We fund both sides of the war, make as much money as possible, while us American citizens are fucked. So, other news. I think that's it today, guys. I barely even drank my beer. But thanks for tuning in. This was episode 10 of the Welder's Wet Dream podcast, and hopefully next episode comes out in a couple months. I just want to repeat what I said in the beginning. I do not want to kill myself. I will never kill myself, and if I'm found dead, it was the government. Thank you, and goodbye.